I was able to outlast his healing scrolls with Haze Fire and the Orb of Venoms, just, work down his units. At any time there's something that looks frail, you can just focus it. So I was able to pick out a Mountain King and a Paladin, and actually the Archmage Suicide hurt him a lot as well. He made mistakes in not expanding. I mean, I played a really reserved game. I certainly had a very bad early game, what with the Creep Steal and the Archer Deaths and all that. That was certainly some bad mistakes. But, I, I just, as soon as I was able to, I went for bears because I realized right away that Dryads are good units. This is towards the mid game. Dryads are good units, but you need bears as an elf player. If you're against an expansion, you just need bears. You just do. There's no way you can win without bears in a late game situation against human. It just really doesn't happen. I think he had a good strategy going for knight and mortar, and a couple breakers was good, and all that. But I think he made a mistake in not really getting any caster presence. He already had the Arcane Sanctum, and a Sanctum just for breakers is a waste of a Sanctum. I mean, breakers are good and all, stealing Rejuve and burning down units, but the real DPS on bears comes from water metals and it comes from Sorks. And when I have Power Dryad, I can easily chop down water metals, and I suppose in some ways it's hard to go Sorks because, well, every battle I charged my Dryads to the back of his army and tried to wreak some havoc. But and also with Haze Fire you can chop down all that stuff. But really he should be able to just toss a bolt on the panda to keep the panda at bay. Focus it with breakers every time. That's really I think what you should do as a human player is get your breakers to just right click the panda and keep him off you. And I think that's really fortunate to have that going on for you. And then it's just it's just a matter of microing well and trying to staff what's low, which I felt I did a decent job at. Healing scrolls I was really missing out on, but I out-upgraded them, which helped a ton in unit efficiency. I mean, I only used one heal scroll all game. It was at one of the last battles, but at the same time, that also allowed me to spend all of my money on units. I mean, yeah, the second orb might not have been useful, but at the same time, all my money was spent on upgrades and units. I bought one healing potion the entire game, I believe, and that was it. I bought a couple clarities and whatnot, but I had one healing potion, and the entire rest of my money was spent on my army. And he had invul pots and mana potions and healing potions and healing scrolls and all that, and I was just able to, despite him having more food than me, I was really able to outproduce him despite the gold disadvantage. I talked at the beginning of this endgame about the difference in gold spending, and it was just unit efficiency. I had bigger heroes because of the water mental kills. I had I beat him by a full 1300 experience, and you can basically attribute that 1300 EXP to water mentals. I mean, purely. I really won because of my heroes, and it was because of getting rid of WEs. If I hadn't have done that, I would have lost so many battles to level 2 and level 3 water mentals. And there was one point where I lost all my Dryads, and he had that level 5 Archmage summoning the water metals in the back, and I lost that fight. I pulled back, I TP'd away, lost all my bears, and I had to wisp spam, I believe, the water metals or something like that, and it was a really, really difficult situation. But it's what you got to try to do. Yeah, so it's just I played a reserved game, Dryad and Bear, typical fare, of course, but it's how the matchup's played. That's the only things that counter human units. He had some interesting things with the tank fake, but really the one thing I want to stress is in any atypical game, basically any game where there's an expansion, where it's not going to be a typical tier 2 push, Panda just outshines Naga Sea Witch, because anytime where there's an expansion, it's going to be a late game kind of game. It's going to be a 30-minute game like this one, and Haze Fire just reigns supreme over Forked Lightning. Forked Lightning has good damage output, and certainly the Naga Sea Witch has a lot of mana, but it's 250 to 3 targets at level 5. Haze Fire is like 400 damage to like 7 targets, and it's just night and day. I mean, it's just a better ability, pure and simple. So anytime you get into late game kind of situations, Panda's just really, really good, and Demon Hunter's just nice. I don't have any experience with the Ward on level 3 Huntress push crap, so I didn't even try it. And again, I was worried about getting Tower Rushed, which is why I didn't go Warden. But as it turns out, I probably won because of DH, because he was there to pick off footman and just be a general beast overall. So I'm not sure what else I have to talk about. Uh, there were a couple points where I believe in game where I walked my tree to my to my natural, I was at 50 food and I had a moonwell, and I was waiting for the 510 gold so I could just upkeep spike to roughly 60 food. And even though again my army was like 50, 58 food, I had literally 5 food worth of workers, so I had basically a pure 50 food army, or 45 food army, and I guarantee that he had at least 20 wisps. So his 80 food is actually 60 food, and my 50 food was actually 50 food, and so that worked out to my favor a lot. And I was able to really just counter his army. There were so many battles where he would show up with 80 food, and okay, that's nice, but my drives get them back and get rid of the mortars. I haste fire the knights for some damage output, and then suddenly his breakers are right in front of my bears, and I'm just able to attack move and kill them. And so the battle starts. His water metals are gone, his man is gone, and so I've got the advantage of hero spells because he can't bolt and light very much because of burn, but I can still haze fire, and he loses 2 key points of his army, and then it's just knight versus bear, and he still did very well in knight versus bear because of that knight buff. They can now stand up to bears very, very well, and certainly his heroes were very effective with brilliant sword. He can keep getting new bolts and new lights up, but I kept track of mana burns, and when I saw the paladin took 75 off the burn or 68 or whatever, I just knew I could focus it. And yeah, I mean, in small battles is really where elf shines. Getting that sort of thing where I got to pick off the mortars and pick off the breakers, I got into a smaller battle, and that's where the orb shines. It's where haze fire affects everything that's in the battle. It's where the demon hunter and mana burn is a big deal, because suddenly if he's not casting spells anymore, your heroes are infinitely better than his, because both the demon hunter and panda are better combat heroes than any of the 3 heroes that he had. They both have higher DPS, and especially when you've got duo hero kind of thing, they're higher level, so the DPS raises as well. And I just won late game off of efficiency, and it's just a couple of small mistakes that he made. One of them was big and not getting the expansion. I'm just going to keep harping on that one. The expo lost him the game, but that's just how you play it. So I think I did a pretty good job explaining it. I kind of feel like my commentating style was a little bit different in this one as well, but I hope you enjoy it. I look forward to making a new one, and if you want some training or personal audios of your own, feel free to email me, phreakwr@gmail.com, or PM me on the site. Hope to hear from you. Bye.